Well, let's bring in retired FBI criminal profiler James Fitzgerald. He joins me now. James, I understand you were a profiler in the Unabomber case. What do you expect to be the profiler of an assassin like this? He clearly had a target. This was not a mass shooting. It was pinpointed with a specific goal at a specific person.
Yes, as I told your producer earlier, Kaylee, I believe this person suffers from Kirk derangement syndrome, much like Trump derangement system. This person syndrome. This person probably went to bed at night and woke up in the morning dreaming about how somehow he would take out Charlie Kirk at some point in time. Who even knows? He may have been in one of these college campuses in the last year or two. He may have been someone standing in line or standing in a crowd and didn't like the response that Charlie was giving so eloquently and so logically explaining, his points of view, counterpoints to the other people up there. So this person is by no means a professional hitman, as some people have said earlier. I don't see that at all with him. He's a young man, obviously practiced with the 30-06. It's a bolt action rifle. It has some recoil issues. He may have been going, I have ballistic oriented friends. He may have been going for center mass and it went high left. He may have been going for headshot and it went down to the neck, not taking in the 200 yards distance with gravity. So this guy practiced at a range somewhere, and that's part of what the FBI is doing right now. They're going around to every range within 100 miles of there and say, hey, who was practicing in the last month or more with a Mauser type rifle, 30-06, and doing these types of things? But he is not a professional hitman. He's full of venom towards Charlie Kirk and the whole conservative movement. And this was his way of answering responding to Charlie Kirk that he could never do in real time.
I do want to bring our viewers a Fox News alert that we do expect an answer to the question I just asked Matt Finn. When will we have a press conference? Well, James, it appears that we will have a press conference within the hour. I presume that means that there's some sort of new information. We've gotten those conflicting reports about the message that was left on the bullet. Nothing to confirm here at Fox News. We don't know the name of the person who is pictured. We know a flood of calls come into the FBI. When a picture like that goes out, they're pouring through those. So do we get a name? Do we get any indication of the message on the bullets? But James, I do want to ask you about that. The message on the bullets, this is something that we've seen as a disturbing trend. We saw this with the Minneapolis shooter who put a message on the bullets. We saw this with Luigi Mangione, who had a political message that he utilized in that killing of the healthcare CEO. What do you make of this newfound message? Is it an attempt to just draw attention to a cause? It does seem to be a relatively new modus operandi for these killers.
Well, it's highly derivative. And in World War II, the soldiers would write names on the bombs they're about to drop, against the various enemies. So this is not necessarily new. Obviously, the CEO killer in modern times is the one that started it, and other people follow one another in that regard. Not all that original, not all that creative. No doubt this person yesterday, Charlie Kirk's assassin, followed what the Butler assassin from last summer and tried to do the same thing on the roof. He saw a soft target. He may have liked to have taken out Trump himself or J.D. Vance, the vice president, but he knew they were hard targets. He knew 2 attempts last summer didn't work, so he sort of lowered his expectations, went for the soft target, and he started building this animus towards Charlie Kirk, and that became the desired target for this person.
James, I do want you to stay with us. It's a busy news night here. We have another Fox News alert. All of this is quickly pouring in, new information, new images. And what you're looking at are brand new images that we have come in of the proposed shooter, the person of interest. Now, the photos show the individual in the same black T-shirt. He's walking up the staircase, and that's just moments before the shooting. We know that staircase is where we got the initial photos. But these are the clearest photos that we have seen yet. You can see his jawline. You can see with precision more exactly what the shooter looked like. James, you're the perfect person to speak with as a behavioral analyst who has a long and rich history in this. That shot right there that you're looking at, that is the clearest picture we have of the shooter. You can see his facial structure. That's a crystal clear image of the person they are looking for.
And let me add to that, Kaylee, if this person was innocent, if this person really had a peg leg or something wrong and they were limping for that reason, hanging around the campus for whatever reason, he would have come forward, said, whoa, FBI, back off. It's not me. I'm not the bad guy. So the fact that this person hasn't showed up, I think the first pictures went out earlier this morning. somehow someone would have reached out for him. I guarantee you mom and dad are already in touch with him. They've probably contacted lawyers already, and they know there's going to be an effect, when this person is eventually identified, and the police and FBI are going to come to them. So these are great pictures. This case is coming together. It took 5 days for the Boston Marathon people to be identified. We're down now to about 36 hours or so, and I think it may be the arrest may be nigh anytime in the next few hours. And that may be what the press conference is about pretty soon.
Yeah, and you do wonder, James. I just want to ask you quickly because we got to move here in just a moment, but. This individual, now that you see these pictures, you know the FBI has these pictures. They probably have far more than what we're seeing. Do you think we get the name of the individual, the person of interest tonight, now that we see these photos exist? There's facial recognition technology and all kinds of technology the FBI can use in these cases.
Absolutely. Facial recognition, AI, that's being utilized at the highest levels today in federal law enforcement. I trust Kash Patel and his people working on this particular case. They're going to get it solved. They may have the name already. I wouldn't be surprised at all. The question is now finding him. And I don't think he's not going to go out like a hero. He's going to go out like the P word. And it won't be that word. I'll call him a pansy. That's how he's going to go out.
Yeah, no doubt. We really appreciate your time. We know a press conference within the hour. We will get all kinds of new details and we will bring them to you.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.